Let's begin by offering our respects to ISKCON founder Acharya and our preeminent Shiksha Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vṛndāvaneshwari Prishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om
Bhagavate
Namo
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Okay, so we welcome all of you to our weekly online Krishna book classes. We have with us here Aja, Divina, Ditya Adnani, Hari, Kamala Nandini Mataji, Karuna, Lavina Dadlani, Manju Nihalani, N.C. Venkachari, Auntie Nita is there. Then we have Priyanka Jha. My husband is there. We have Rito Lalwani, Shailesh Latkar, Shantaram Latkar, Shivani, Shri Radha, Swapna Latkar, Vivansh, Wendy, Meenakshi, and Manju Nihalani. I think Karuna joined us just now. Okay. So what did we see in the previous class?
Krishna recovers the son of his teacher,
What is his teacher's name?
Sandipani Muni.
Sandipani Muni. And where was he located? Where
He
was
was
the
in
ashram?
the he was there with Yamaraj.
He was with Yamaraj. But where is Sandipani Muni's ashram?
Its new name is Ujjain.
Yes, modern day
Ujjain?
Ujjain.
Is it in Ujjain, right?
Yes. Modern day Ujjain. Previously it was called as Avantipur. Okay, did you all do the homework? How many of you all have read?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else has read the chapters?
Yeah, I also did, but it's a lot.
Yes.
I forget, right?
It's a lot, right? Yeah, it's a lot.
I
So
don't
what we
remember
will
all
do
those.
is, yeah, I
It only
understand.
explained 30 characters, something like that, right?
30
It's not
characters,
all.
you took a note? You wrote down?
Yeah, and it says there, right? What it is with heading.
Qualities.
Yeah, sorry,
The
qualities.
Qualities
qualities.
are
Yeah.
qualities are
60,
four
yes.
qualities are there.
Yeah, 64 qualities Krishna has and 64, what else? Kalas, no? The
Kalas.
skills that he learned in 64 days. Yes. But what about that story of the curse of Yayati? Did you all read that?
Yes, I did read, but a week ago, right?
Okay, so who can tell me the story of the curse of King Yayati? Yeah, Shri Radhe, you can tell me the story of the curse of King Yayati?
I can try if it's not- It's Yayati. And then he was actually roaming around, and then he saw Shrimishta and Devrani or something. I mean, I won't be able to pronounce the name so correctly. But what happened between Devrani and Shrimishta, they were all with their girlfriends and they were swimming in the pond and in the river or ocean, whatever that is. And then Shiva and Parvati was just crossing by there. So they saw them and they were not wearing their clothes. So they jumped and they were their clothes. And then what happened between Samishta and the other lady, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Sorry.
Devayani.
Devayani and Samishta. So she exchanged the clothes, and she was the daughter of the Shukracharya, and then he was the daughter of the disciple. That happened
Why is your this thing coming off?
and then the ladies got angry at each other, and then they said, "Why did you wear my clothes?" And in a hurry, she wear her clothes, and then she pushed her in the water, and this is how I think. The Shukracharya's daughter, I think she fell in the water, and then they all left, and the king came, the Ayayati came, and he was a Kshatriya and she was a Brahmin, and she was also cursed from the person who was taught the how to bring the dead people alive, but then he lost his thing because she cursed him, and then he also cursed her that she will not be marrying a Brahmana. So then what happened, and he came from the demigod. So then what happened, like after that he helped her got out of the water, and then she said, now you have to marry me. And then he said that you are a brahmana. And in the purport it says that I think it says that Brahman can marry Kshatriya or something, like Kshatriya can marry a Brahman, but a Brahman cannot marry a Kshatriya, or like that, something like that. It says like that. So then what happened? Then they got married, and but they didn't get married right then. And then he tried to explain to her, I'm a Kshatriya, I cannot marry a Brahman, I cannot go against the religious codes and all that. And then she tried to explain to him that you saved me, this and that. And then when she went to her father, she was very angry. So she told her father what had happened to her. And then at that time, her father also got very upset of the disciple, that your daughter this to my daughter, and I'm leaving, and this and that. And so he begged forgiveness and all that. And then what happened when she got married? Also, Devani also went with her in the shadi or something like that. And when they went as a maid servant, then is Samishta, I think she got a baby or something, or she had a son or something, and the other woman wanted to get a baby too. And then so he married both the women. And when he married both the women got pregnant and had a child. Then she got so angry, and she went to her father, and her father cursed her that your youth and your the other thing will be taken away. And then what happened? After that, what happened? Then he said, then when he talked to him that I won't be satisfying your daughter and all that, you gave me a curse, and so please forgive me. And so he said that, okay, so you have this many sons, so if your son will take away your youth or something, will exchange your youth for the old age like this. And no one agreed, and so the first child became a sannyasi or something. And then the last son, he exchanged it. If I'm explaining correctly and not confusing, because I read three other purports of three other things used. So then and then it happened. Then for many years he satisfied her, and it says many other women or something like that. It happened. And then this is kind of the story that I'm remembering, that I
Okay,
think.
very nice. Thank you very much for doing your homework and for explaining. So, yes, what you said is correct. Just that some details here and there are a bit confused, because I understand you had a lot of homework. But anyway, to cut the long story short, King Yayati was married to Devayani, who was the daughter of Shukracharya. But then he had a relationship with her companion Sharmishta. And therefore, Shukracharya,
Devyani was the maid.
Devyani was the maid, and Sharmishta was the wife.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Let's go to the chapter. Does anybody have the link to share immediately?
Sharmishta was the maid. Maid servant.
Sharmishta was the maid. No, that's what. So King Yayati got married to Devayani, who was Shukracharya's daughter, and then he had a
My
relationship
mistake.
with Sharmishta, with her companion, right? And then Shukracharya cursed King Yayati that because you are after sense gratification, therefore now I am cursing you with premature old age. So he had become old before time. And then there was this arrangement that he can exchange his old age for the youth of his sons if his sons agree. So he asked his eldest son. His eldest son's name was
Yati.
Yadu. Yadu.
Yeah.
Yayati is the king who got married, and he was cursed with premature old age. So he asked his eldest son, Yadu. So we know Yadu dynasty, right? So he's the king Yadu, the son of Yayati. So when he asked Yadu, Yadu refused because he didn't want to encourage the sense gratification of his father. But then his youngest son, Puru, he agreed to exchange his youth for the premature old age of his father. So this is and therefore, because Yadu refused, Yayati cursed Yadu that you will not be king, right? And therefore, he didn't crown Yadu as the king, because usually the eldest son is crowned the next king. But what Yayati did was, he did not crown Yadu as the king. So therefore, this curse in the Krishna book that we read previously, where Krishna is telling that because of the curse of Yayati, the Yadus cannot sit on the crown, because the descendants of Yadu then were considered that, you cannot sit on the throne, because Yadu was not crowned king, the next king or the next prince, by his father Yayati. So this is the curse. But of course, Krishna is God and he can override any curse. It does not matter. So this is the curse. So if you read the translations and puppets, they're very nectarian, of course, like any other puppet. But there's a very, very interesting story on how King Yayati was so attached to sense gratification, which many people in Kali Yuga are struggling with now, trying to satisfy the senses. Anyway, let's go to today's.
Mataji, one small question. So what happened to Puru? Finally, Puru got any moksha or something after that? Because he was in
Puru,
the...
yeah, Puru was favored by his father, and I think he was crowned the next king, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
But I'm not too sure about that. I have to reread that section.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so today, by the mercy of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna, we will be seeing chapter number 46 of the Krishna book, titled Uddhava Visits Vṛndāvana. Yeah, Shailesh, you have your hand raised?
I just had one question regarding the Yayati story. Did Yayati curse Yadu individually, or did he curse his entire line?
See, the curse is for Yadu, and then the descendants always bear the consequences of what the ancestor did. Even karma acts like that. Sometimes the children have to pay for the karma of the parents. If the parents have a debt, then the children have to take the karmic reaction of the father not reaping the debt. So it is something that comes down to the descendants also. It's not an individual thing. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
One question, Sanam, just to, if karma is the other way around, like if the children have to bear the kukarma of the parents, and then whatever sukarma also they do, that children get the benefit, right?
Yes, it works both ways. That's why this is called as collective karma. Collective karma.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Nanda Maharaj returned to Vrindavan without Krishna and Balaram. He was accompanied only by the cowherd boys and men. It was certainly a very pathetic scene for the gopis, Mother Yashoda, Srimati Radharani, and all other residents of Vrindavan. Many devotees have tried to make adjustments to Krishna's being away from Vrindavan because, according to expert opinion, Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, never goes even a step out of Vrindavan. He always remains there. The explanation of expert devotees is that Krishna was actually not absent from Vrindavan. He came back with Nanda Maharaj as promised. So now what has happened in the beginning of the chapter, Nanda Maharaj has returned to Vrindavan, but he has returned without Krishna and Balaram. So Mother Yashoda, Radharani, Srimati Radharani, and everybody, they're all heartbroken. It's a very pathetic scene. They are profusely crying, especially Mother Yashoda, that is described that she was constantly crying. Her clothes were constantly wet because her eyes were shedding tears constantly. Therefore, her eyes were always closed, and milk was flowing from her breast continuously. But then see here, this line here. Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, never goes even a step out of Vrindavan. So actually, Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Only thing that he is not manifest, they are not able to see him, but he is always there in Vrindavan. So it's not that Krishna has broken his promise.
Mataji, if nobody can feel him, and what's the purpose in staying there?
It's not that, see, they cannot see him physically, but they can feel him. They can feel him because they are constantly thinking, they are constantly meditating, they are constantly talking about the pastimes of Krishna. So when we glorify Krishna, when we chant his holy name, when we meditate on Krishna, then Krishna's presence can be felt.
Okay.
Nanda Maharaj returned to Vrindavan. Oh, we already read this. When Krishna was starting for Mathura on the chariot driven by Akrura and the gopis were blocking the way, Krishna assured them that he was coming back just after finishing his business in Mathura. He told them not to be overwhelmed and in this way pacified them. But when he failed to come back with Nanda Maharaj, it appeared that he either cheated them or could not keep his promise. Expert devotees, however, have decided that Krishna was neither a cheater nor a breaker of promises. Krishna, in his original identity, returned with Nanda Maharaj and stayed with the gopis and Mother Yashoda in his bhava expansion. Krishna and Balaram remained in Mathura, not in their original but in their expansions as Vasudev and Sankarsana. The real Krishna and Balaram were in Vrindavan in their bhava manifestation, whereas in Mathura they appeared in the prabhava and vaibhava expansions. This is the expert opinion of advanced devotees of Krishna. Externally, however, they were absent from Vrindavan. Therefore, when Nanda Maharaj was preparing to return to Vrindavan, there was some discussion between him and the boys concerning how they could live in separation. The conclusion to separate was reached by mutual agreement. So we saw this conversation between Krishna and Nanda Maharaj in the previous chapter. And then finally it was decided that Krishna will stay back at Mathura, finish up his business, and Nanda Maharaj and the others can return to Vrindavan. So here, many points are there. So first of all, this point here, that when Krishna was starting for Mathura, he assured the gopis that he will come back just after finishing his business in Mathura. So in the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, we read that how it was because Krishna told the gopis that I will be returning soon. That's why they were still alive, because they had hope that Krishna would return. So that was this pacification, this line by Krishna that gave hope to the gopis that Krishna will return, and therefore they were keeping themselves alive. Then this point here, Krishna in his original identity returned with Nanda Maharaj and stayed with the gopis and Mother Yashoda in his bhava expansion. And the Krishna and Balaram who were in Mathura were actually the prabhava and vaibhava expansions of Krishna. So let us see here. See here in this section of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can read. The original form of the Lord, Swayam Rupa, is exhibited in two forms, Swayam Rupa and Swayam Prakasha. In his original form as Swayam Rupa, Krishna is observed as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan. So Krishna himself, Krishna as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna in his original form, Swayam Rupa form, is that Krishna who is there as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan. Now that Swayam Rupa Krishna is now exhibited in two forms, Swayam Rupa and Swayam Prakasha. So see here, there is a chart. Swayam Rupa Krishna in his original form as a cowherd boy in Vrindavan. Now when Krishna expands, when he expands, then it is called as Swayam Prakasha, when he expands himself. His own manifestation.
Means he become like light?
What's that?
Does he become light when he expands?
No, he doesn't become light. This is Krishna still with all his potencies. It's just that this was Swayam Rupa Krishna, and now Krishna is expanding. Okay, his manifestations are coming. So now that Swayam, when he expands, it is called as Swayam Prakasha, manifestations of Krishna. Now that Swayam Prakasha is of two kinds, Prabhava Prakasha and Vaibhava Prakasha. Now Swayam Prakasha is his expansion into multiple forms but with the same features, just as how he expanded himself in the Rasa dance. So remember, in the Rasa dance, Krishna expanded himself, and for every gopi there was one Krishna. No? Do you remember that section of the Rasa Leela?
So there is still physical form, right? Okay.
Yeah, physical form. Yes. He manifests himself into several Krishnas. Okay, he manifests himself into several Krishnas. That is Prabhava Prakasha. The form is the same. But in Vaibhava Prakasha, Krishna expands, same potency. There is no difference except that the bodily features are different. The mood is different. So the first Vaibhava Prakash of Krishna is Balaram. Srila Prabhupada explains that there is no difference between Krishna and Balaram. The difference is only in the complexion. Krishna is black and Balaram is white. So these are the Swayam Prakasha expansions of Swayam Rupa Krishna. Now the expansions of Krishna actually divided broadly into three categories. One is Swayam Rupa, that is Krishna himself. The other is Tad Ekatma Rupa, expansions with different moods and bodily features. That Tad Ekatma Rupa is again divided into two, Vilasa and Swamsa. But we are not going to go into all these details because it's not in our syllabus, no? And we will be going out of our syllabus. So anyway, just for you to understand. So Krishna, when he in Vrindavan, is Swayam Rupa Krishna, but Krishna in Mathura was his expansion. See here in this. Let's read this again. When the Lord married 16,108 wives at Dwaraka, he expanded himself into many forms. These expansions at the Rasa dance are called Prabhava Prakasha. So his Rasa dance expansions and even his expansions for his 16,108 wives are the Prabhava Prakasha. So that is Krishna in the same form, but his different manifestations. If one form of feature is differently manifested according to different emotional features, it is called Vaibhava Prakasha, which means the form is different, the mood is different, but it's the same potency. So that is Balaram. Balaram is the first Vaibhava Prakash manifestation of Krishna. See here, the first manifestation of the Vaibhava feature of Krishna is Sri Balaramji. Sri Balaram and Krishna have different bodily colors, but otherwise Sri Balaram is equal to Krishna in all respects. So an example of Vaibhava Prakash is the son of Devaki. So Vaibhava Prakash is also one example of Vaibhava Prakash, the son of Devaki, because when Krishna appeared to Devaki, he appeared in the four-handed form. No, he was not in the Swayam Rupa Krishna. Swayam Rupa Krishna is the one that is in Vṛndāvana. But Krishna that was born from the womb of Devaki, that is Vaibhava Prakash example. Vaibhava Prakash of Krishna. So he sometimes has two hands and sometimes he has four hands. He appeared in the four-handed form, and then upon Devaki's request, he took the two-handed form. So the Krishna in Mathura is not the Swayam Rupa Krishna, is Krishna in his Prabhava Prakasha and Vaibhava Prakasha manifestations. And this Krishna, Swayam Rupa Krishna, he never leaves Vrindavan.
Hare
So
Krishna,
if you
Mataji.
want, yeah, one second. So if you want, you can go through this chart, and there are more details I have put here about what is Swamsa, Avesha, and the different. See, Krishna appears in three forms known as Swayam Rupa, Tadekatma Rupa, and Avesha forms. So that Tadekatma Rupa again has divided into two categories, Vilasa and Swamsa. And again, Avesha is divided into two categories, primary and secondary. So this, you can read this text. We are not going to get into this in detail, but you can read the text if you like for your pleasure, and you can go through these charts. Yeah, questions?
So Mataji, one question was when Krish, for each gopi, there was a Krishna that was in Mathura or in Vrindavan?
In Vrindavan, when he did the Rasa dance with the gopis of Vrindavan.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So if you want more details, you go to this link here, Vedabase, your Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20, from verses 165 onwards. Srila Prabhupada explains in great detail about each of these manifestations of Krishna. Okay. And you read the translations and you read the purport very scrutinizingly. You take a sheet of paper, you take a pen and take down notes, and you try to take assistance from these charts. and then it'll be easier to understand. Okay, Shailesh, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand. There was a announcement from the sky saying that the eighth son of Devaki, who is Krishna, will 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 be the end of Kamsa. And by default, when he is the end of Kamsa, he is the either the king himself or the power behind the king. So why is there a reason for an explanation as to why he doesn't come back to Vrindavan? Isn't it necessary for him to stay in Mathura because without him being there, there is no power in Mathura, right?
See, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says he comes to protect his devotees, he comes to annihilate the demons, and he comes to re-establish the principles of religion. These are the three reasons why Krishna comes. Now in Mathura, he has come to annihilate Kamsa, no doubt. But also he wants to protect his devotees. And the bhav, the mood, the emotion, the ecstasy is maximum for the Vrajavasis. So there is no equal to the bhav of the Vrajavasis anywhere. So he also has to reciprocate with the love of his devotees in Vrajabhumi. So therefore, Krishna, yes, he has to kill Kamsa and Mathura. He also has to protect Mathura. Now Mathura is going to be attacked by other associates of Kamsa, the other demons who are
There are some.
friends with Kamsa. They are going to attack. So yes, Krishna has to stay in Mathura for these other reasons. But also he has to reciprocate with the love and affection of the devotees in Vrindavan. That is also his actually that is Krishna's primary concern. He reciprocates with the love of his devotees. So Vrindavan also needs Krishna, and Mathura also needs Krishna. Vrindavan needs Krishna more than Mathura, in fact. Krishna
But
can
then
kill demons even by sending his Krishna can send someone to kill the demons, and even Krishna can actually also kill demons when he's still in Goloka. No, he doesn't have to personally come. He doesn't have to personally come to kill the demons. Krishna is right there in the heart of the demon as a super soul. He can cause a heart attack. What's the big deal? But the point is, Krishna's primary concern is to reciprocate with the love of his devotees, and the bhav, the ecstasy, is maximum. It's best in Vrindavan.
I like the way you said that he could just cause a heart attack.
Yeah, I mean, he's
But
right there in the heart, right? That's not Krishna's primary concern. Krishna comes mainly for his devotees, to reciprocate with the love of his devotees.
But then again, one more thing which is also mentioned in the later part of the chapter is ki if Krishna comes to Vrindavan, then he keeps Vrindavan exposed to the enemies of Mathura because they are after Krishna in the end because he is the one who has murdered. They see it as murdered Kamsa. So then he would leave them exposed to attacks from those enemies. So isn't that also uh, his love for Vrindavan that he is not going there knowingly that he doesn't want them to get attacked?
Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. That is also one of the reasons. So there are many reasons, but many of them are external and some of them are internal, more private, more intimate reasons. So external reason is what you have mentioned, that Vrindavan will be attacked by other demons and Krishna does not want to cause any disturbance in Vrindavan. But just as how Krishna has been dealing with the other demons, Kamsa has sent, he can also deal with the other demons. It's not difficult for Krishna.
And
But
lastly, one last thing. I am being very selfish with your time, but one last thing that they also realize that he is actually the son of Devki and Vasudev, and they have not had him since he was a child. So isn't it a little? I don't want to use the word selfish, but isn't it a word a little this thing to expect him to then leave his parents who have just received him and come back to Vrindavan?
yes, that is also mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. These are also the reasons. It is again an external reason. Because Krishna himself tells, no, Krishna tells. In the previous chapter, we read Krishna is talking to Nanda Maharaj, and he tells him that more than the birth parents, the parents who bring you up, who raise you, they are more your parents than the birth parents. Krishna tells them, right? So these are all external reasons what you are saying. But what is the internal reason for Krishna to not be manifest in Vrindavan is because he wants to increase the love, he wants to increase the ecstasy of the Vrajavasis in his absence, because there is more ecstasy in separation than there is in union. So this is the internal reason. External reasons are all these that you have mentioned. Okay? Does that answer
Mataji,
your question?
can I also say something? That
Yes.
he's not staying in Madura also, right? He goes to Dwar. How did he's in Dwaraga, right?
No, no.
How
Right now he is in Mathura. Later he will go to Dwarka.
okay? How many years he was in Madura? We
Oh,
don't.
I don't know. I don't know how many years. I'll have to research
Okay.
that. I don't have the time frame. Can we proceed?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Vasudeva and Devaki, who happened to be the real parents of Krishna and Balaram, wanted to keep them now because of the death of Kamsa. While Kamsa was alive, Krishna and Balaram were kept under the protection of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan. Now, naturally, the father and mother of Krishna and Balaram wanted them to remain, specifically for the reformatory function of purification, the sacred thread ceremony. They also wanted to give them a proper education, for this is the duty of the father. Another consideration was that all the friends of Kamsa outside Mathura were planning to attack Mathura. For that reason also, Krishna's presence was required. Krishna did not want Vrindavan disturbed by enemies like Dantavakra and Jarasandha. If Krishna were to go to Vrindavan, these enemies would not only attack Mathura, but would go on to Vrindavan, and the peaceful inhabitants of Vrindavan would be disturbed. Krishna therefore decided to remain in Mathura, and Nanda Maharaj went back to Vrindavan. Although the inhabitants of Vrindavan felt separation from Krishna, the resulting ecstasy, bhav, caused them to perceive that Krishna was always present with them by his leela or pastime. So these are all the reasons we just mentioned, we just discussed. Okay, since Krishna had departed from Vrindavan and gone to Mathura, the inhabitants of Vrindavan, especially Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, Srimati Radharani, the gopis and the cowherd boys were simply thinking of Krishna at every step. They were thinking, Hare, here Krishna was playing in this way. Here Krishna was blowing his flute. Krishna was joking with us in this way, and Krishna was embracing us like this. This is called Leela Smarana, and it is the process of association with Krishna most recommended by great devotees. Even Lord Chaitanya, when he was at Puri, enjoyed Leela Smarana association with Krishna. Those in the most exalted position of devotional service and ecstasy can live with Krishna always by remembering his pastimes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given us a transcendental literature entitled Krishna Bhavanamrita, which is full with Krishna's pastimes. Exalted devotees can remain absorbed in Krishna thought by reading such books. Any book of Krishna Leela, even this book, Krishna, or our teachings of Lord Chaitanya is actually solace for devotees feeling separation from Krishna. So this does not only apply to Lord Chaitanya or to the Vrajavasis, even fallen conditioned souls, if they read about the pastimes of Krishna, if they remember the pastimes of Krishna, we can actually experience Krishna in our lives. See here. Those in the most exalted position of devotional service and ecstasy can live with Krishna always by remembering his pastimes, because Krishna is not different from his name, fame, form, and pastimes. Krishna is in his name. When we chant his name, Krishna is present in that name. When we read about the pastimes of Krishna, the leelas of Krishna, when we remember Krishna, Krishna is not different from his leelas. Krishna is his name, fame, form, and pastimes. That Krishna and Balaram did not return to Vrindavan can be adjusted as follows. They did not break their promise to return to Vrindavan, nor were they absent, but their presence was necessary in Mathura. In the meantime, Uddhava, a cousin brother of Krishna's, came to see Krishna from Dwarka. He was the son of Vasudev's brother and was almost the same age as Krishna. His bodily features resembled Krishna's almost exactly. After Krishna returned from his teacher's home, he was pleased to see Uddhava, who happened to be his dearmost friend. Krishna wanted to send him to Vrindavan with a message to the residents to pacify their deep feelings of separation. So who was Uddhava?
Cousin brother of
His
Krishna.
cousin brother.
Cousin brother.
Yeah, he is a cousin brother of
Krishna's
Krishna,
cousin brother.
and
He's also the student of Brahaspati, and the student of
His brother.
he's also a disciple of Brahaspati.
okay. And he looks exactly
And his
like Krishna. He
bodily
has the
features are
same
exactly
bodily
like Krishna.
features. Yeah, and he's also the same age as Krishna. So see, Krishna now is in Mathura, but he became full of anxiety. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Krishna became full of anxiety when he was thinking about the sorrow of the Vrajavasis, and he was thinking that that somehow or the other I want to send someone to Mathura. So now the next question is, who is qualified to go to Mathura and deliver the message that Krishna wants to send to the Rajavasis? Why Krishna wants to do this is because when that message is going to be delivered, then it will be known to the world that the love of the Vrajavasis is topmost. No, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains like that, and he says that he's thinking, who has performed so much austerity, so many thousands of austerity, tapasya, somebody who has done so much tapasya only would be qualified to go and relish the ocean of love of the Vrajavasis. So Krishna is thinking like that. And then he says, no, the right person is Uddhava. Uddhava is the most qualified person because of so many reasons explained in the commentary. He says that, first of all, he is a person who is respected by all the members of the Vrishni clan because of his exemplary words and actions. Then Uddhava was also a very expert counselor, and because he is expert at counseling, he would be able to pacify the Vrajavasis. Then Uddhava was very beloved to Krishna. Krishna loved him very much. And Uddhava was also very expert in discussing subject matters of conjugal love. So Uddhava will be able to understand the conjugal feelings that the gopis have for Krishna. Then it's also explained how actually Uddhava was a direct disciple of Brihaspati. And Brihaspati was very pleased with the sharp intellect that Uddhava had. So therefore he taught him all the Shastras. But there was one lesson that Brihaspati did not teach him. And he did not teach them that because Brihaspati himself did not have access to that teaching. What is that teaching? The science of love, the science of prema. Love, prema that controls God, prema that controls Krishna himself. So that lesson which Uddhava did not get from Brihaspati, that lesson Uddhava will get from the gopis of Vraja, because gopis will teach how to love Krishna to Uddhava. So all these reasons are given, and therefore Krishna designates that yes, Uddhava is the qualified person. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also explains how Uddhava, the word Uddhava means festival of joy. The word Uddhava means festival of joy. So Uddhava was actually festivity personified. So when the Vrajavasis will see Uddhava, they will become happy and joyful. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. Krishna is very responsive. He responds in proportion to the devotee's advancement in devotional service. Thus, as the gopis were thinking of Krishna in separation 24 hours a day, so Krishna was also always thinking of the gopis, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and the other residents of Vrindavan. Although he appeared to be away from them, he could understand how they were transcendently aggrieved, and so he immediately wanted to send Uddhava to give him a message of solace. So see this verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna reciprocates according to one's level of surrender. From chapter 4, ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvasaha. Translation: as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. So sometimes we see that some devotees are making very rapid progress. Some devotees are not making very rapid progress. Is because Krishna is reciprocating according to our level of surrender. The more we surrender to Krishna, the more we lead our lives, keeping Krishna in the center of our lives, the more we follow Krishna's instructions, the more Krishna will reciprocate with us. But if we hold on to what we think is right, if we hold on to our own material attachments, if we hold on to our sense gratification, then Krishna will not reciprocate with us as much as he reciprocates with someone who has actually surrendered. So in this photo, you can see here Krishna is reciprocating with the gopis in Madhurya Ras, because this is how the gopis are relating to Krishna. So Krishna reciprocates them to them in Madhurya Ras. Krishna reciprocates to Mother Yashoda in Vatsalya Ras. Krishna reciprocates with his friend in Sakhya Ras, friendship. Krishna is reciprocating to this person here in Dasya Ras, because he sees himself as a servant of Krishna. Krishna is reciprocating to the cows in Shantaras. And here, what do we see here in this verse? In this, we see here this person sees God as a person. God as a person. So Krishna will reciprocate. This is called as the Bhagavan realization, no? To realize that God is a person. So Krishna helps him to realize him as a person. This person here, this yogi here, he is relating to Krishna as the super soul, Paramatma. No? So he is in silent meditation and he's meditating on the Paramatma. Here so Paramatma realization. Here this person is seeing God as all pervading light. No? He sees how the light is pervading everywhere. So he sees God as a light, and therefore this is called as the Brahman realization. This person here, he is not interested in realizing God, neither in the Brahman aspect, nor in the Paramatma aspect, nor in the Bhagavan aspect. He is only interested in his own sense gratification. No, he is just interested in his material attachments. So then there is no reciprocation for a person who is only interested in material attachments. He will be under the law of karma. As you sow, so shall you reap. But in other aspects here, Krishna personally reciprocates. So Krishna reciprocates. See here, as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So see here, Srila Prabhupada explains how this human life is very, very rare. It's a very precious jewel that we have, this human life. And if we don't use this human life to realize God, then we will be only in this cycle of birth and death. Human life means we have to come to that understanding that I'm a servant of God. Servant of God means I have to serve the Lord. Everything belongs to Krishna. So why should I hanker to satisfy this body, which is supposedly mine? Rather, one should think, intelligence is to think that I have this body, now let me serve Krishna with this body. That is intelligence. That is intelligence. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's one verse that says, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. What does this mean? What is bhakti? Bhakti means to use Rishika, the senses, in the service of Rishikesha. Rishikesha is the name of Krishna. It means he is the master of the senses. So bhakti means to use the senses in the service of the master of the senses. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. That is intelligence. Use the senses not to satisfy one's own self, but to satisfy Krishna. That is bhakti. That is intelligence. Otherwise, we'll be just in the cycle of birth and death for millions and millions and millions of years. Uddhava is described as the most exalted personality in the Vrishni dynasty, being almost equal to Krishna. He was a great friend of Krishna's, and being the direct student of Brihaspati, the teacher and priest of the heavenly planets, he was very intelligent and sharp in decision. Intellectually, he was highly qualified. Krishna, being his very loving friend, wanted to send Uddhava to Vṛndāvana just to study the highly elevated ecstatic devotional service practiced there. Even if one is highly elevated in material education and is even the disciple of Brihaspati, he still has to learn from the gopis and the other residents of Vṛndāvana how to love Krishna to the highest degree. It was Krishna's special favor to Uddhava to send him to Vṛndāvana with a message for the residents there, which was meant to pacify them. So Uddhava, even though he is highly educated by Brihaspati, who is the priest of the heavenly planets. But still, there is one lesson that he could not teach him, which he himself does not have, as we discussed previously, which is how to love Krishna. How to love Krishna to the highest degree. So that lesson he will get when he goes to Vrindavan with the message. Lord Krishna is also named Hari, which means one who takes away all distress from the surrendered souls. Lord Chaitanya states that there cannot be at any time be a worship as exalted as that realized by the gopis. Being very anxious about the gopis' grief, Krishna talked with Uddhava and politely requested him to go to Vrindavan. Shaking Uddhava's hands with his own hands, he said, "My dear gentle friend Uddhava, please go immediately to Vrindavan and try to pacify my father and mother, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi and the gopis. They are grief-stricken as if suffering from great ailments. Go and give them a message. I hope their ailments will be partially relieved. The gopis are always absorbed in thoughts of me. They have dedicated body, desire, life and soul to me. I am anxious not only for the gopis, but for anyone who sacrifices society, friendship, love, and personal comforts for me. It is my duty to protect such exalted devotees. The gopis are the most dear. They always think of me in such a way that they remain overwhelmed and almost dead in anxiety due to separation from me. They are keeping alive simply by thinking that I am returning to them very soon." So this is what we discussed now. Because Krishna told them that I will return, therefore that gave them hope, and therefore they were keeping themselves alive. Otherwise they would have given up their body. Requested by Lord Krishna, Uddhava immediately left on his chariot and carried the message to Gokul. He approached Vrindavan at sunset when the cows were returning home from the pasturing ground. Uddhava and his chariot were covered by the dust raised by the hoofs of the cows. He saw bulls running after cows for mating. Other cows with overladen milk bags were running after their calves to feed them with milk. Uddhava saw that the entire land of Vrindavan was filled with white cows and calves running here and there all over Gokul, and he could hear the sound of milking. Every residential house in Vrindavan was decorated for the worship of the sun god and the fire god for the reception of guests, cows, brahmins, and demigods. Every home was sanctified by lights and incense. All over Vrindavan, there were nice gardens filled with flowers and the sounds of humming bees and singing birds. The lakes were filled with lotus flowers and with ducks and swans. Uddhava entered the house of Nanda Maharaj and was received as a representative of Vasudev. Nanda Maharaj offered him a sitting place and sat down with him to ask about messages from Krishna, Balaram, and other family members in Mathura. He could understand that Uddhava was very confidential friend of Krishna's and therefore must have come with good messages. "My dear Uddhava," he said, "how is my friend Vasudev enjoying life? He is now released from the prison of Kamsa and he is now with his friends and his children, Krishna and Balaram. So he must be very happy. Tell me about him and his welfare. We are also very happy that Kamsa, the most sinful demon, has been killed. He was always envious of the family of the Yadus, his relatives. Now, because of his sinful activities, he is dead and gone, along with all his brothers. Please let us know whether Krishna now remembers his father and mother and his friends and companions in Vrindavan. Does he like to remember his cows, his gopis, his Govardhan hill, his pasturing grounds in Vrindavan? Or has he now forgotten all these? Is there any possibility of his coming back to his friends and relatives so we can again see his beautiful face with its raised nose and lotus-like eyes? We remember how he saved us from the forest fire, how he saved us from the great snake Kalia in the Yamuna, and how he saved us from so many other demons. And we simply think of how much we are obliged to him for giving us protection in many dangerous situations. My dear Uddhava, when we think of Krishna's beautiful face and eyes and his different activities here in Vrindavan, we become so overwhelmed that all our activities cease. We simply think of Krishna, how he used to smile and how he looked upon us with grace. When we go to the banks of the Yamuna or the lakes of Vrindavan or near Govardhan Hill or the pasturing fields, we see that the impressions of Krishna's footprints are still on the surface of the earth. We remember him playing in those places because he was constantly visiting them. When his appearance within our minds becomes manifest, we immediately become absorbed in thought of him. We think therefore that Krishna and Balaram may be chief demigods in heaven who have appeared before us like ordinary boys to execute particular duties on earth. This was foretold by Garga Muni when making Krishna's horoscope. If Krishna were not a great personality, how could he have killed Kamsa, who possessed the strength of 10,000 elephants? Besides Kamsa, there were the very strong wrestlers as well as the giant elephant Kuvalayapida, Krishna killed all these animals and demons just as a lion kills an ordinary animal. How wonderful it is that Krishna took in one hand the big heavy bow made of three joined palm trees and broke it very quickly. How wonderful it is that for 7 days continuously he held up Govardhan Hill with one hand. How wonderful it is that he has killed all the demons like Pralambasura, Dhenukasura, Arishtasura, Trinavarta, and Bakasura. They were so strong that even the demigods in the heavenly planets were afraid of them, but Krishna killed them as easily as anything. So that Kamsa's bow, how long was that bow of Kamsa's?
Like 3 palm trees.
3 palm trees. So it's like it is described that it was some 270 feet, 270 feet long. So if you take the average height of a Indian male, it's like some 50 men standing on top of each other. No, so that how tall was that bow of Kamsa which Krishna broke. While describing the uncommon activities of Krishna before Uddhava, Nanda Maharaj gradually became overwhelmed and could no longer speak. As for Mother Yashoda, she sat by the side of her husband and heard the pastimes of Krishna without speaking. She simply cried incessantly and milk poured from her breasts. When Uddhava saw Maharaj Nanda and Yashoda so extraordinarily overwhelmed with thoughts of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and when he experienced their extraordinary affection for him, he also became overwhelmed and spoke as follows. My dear Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, you are most respectable among human beings because no one but you can meditate in such transcendental ecstasy. So we see how Nanda Maharaj, he received Uddhava very respectfully, and he also received him as a representative of Krishna. No? We saw it in the previous slide. But Mother Yashoda was not able to receive him because her eyes were closed and continuously she is only shedding tears. So she could not speak. Her breasts were overflowing with milk. Her eyes were overflowing with tears. So she was not able to speak. She was not able to give a proper welcome to Uddhava because she is in so much separation from Krishna, so much of ecstasy. Uddhava continued, Balaram and Krishna are the original personalities of Godhead from whom the cosmic manifestation emanates. They are chief among all personalities. Each of them is both the material and the efficient cause of this material creation. Material nature is conducted by the Purusha incarnations who all act under Krishna and Balaram. By their partial representation, they enter the hearts of all living entities. They are the source of all knowledge and all forgetfulness also. This is confirmed by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter. I am present in everyone's heart and I cause one to remember and forget. I am the original compiler of the Vedanta and I am the actual knower of the Vedas. Uddhava continued, if at the time of death a person can fix his pure mind upon Krishna even for a moment, after giving up his material body, he becomes eligible to appear in his original spiritual body, just as the sun rises with all illumination. Passing from his life in this way, he immediately enters into the spiritual kingdom, Vaikuntha. So many points here, Uddhava is speaking. So he's saying that Krishna and Balaram are the original personalities of Godhead from whom the cosmic manifestation emanates. So it is from Krishna Balaram that the whole creation takes place. Everything comes from Krishna. Balaram is Krishna's first expansion. See here, who are the Purusha incarnations? Material nature is conducted by the Purusha incarnations who all act under Krishna and Balaram. So who are the Purusha incarnations? We have discussed it before. The three Vishnus. Who are the three Vishnus?
Garbhodaka, Vishnu.
Pranadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Shirodakshay Vishnu.
Yes, very nice. So, okay, so from Mahavishnu, as breathing comes the universes, and then Garbhodakashay Vishnu enters into each universe, and then Shirodakashay Vishnu enters into the heart of every living entity. No? So they are the Purusha incarnations. Okay, then this verse here, no, that Krishna is saying in the 15th chapter, I am present in everyone's heart. So who's that super soul? So many times say in many other books, We see the term Paramatma and they use the word Paramatma, but who is that Paramatma? What is the name? Who is that personality? That Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that I am that super soul. I am that Paramatma. No? So that knowledge is revealed to us by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, I am present in everyone's heart. And what are the three things that he's doing? What are the three functions of the Paramatma? Knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. He causes one to remember and to forget. Then Krishna says, I am the original compiler of the Vedanta. He has composed the Vedanta. All the spiritual knowledge, everything Vedas are coming from Krishna. Krishna gave it to Lord Brahma at the dawn of creation. Bhagavatam describes this. No? And not only is he the compiler of the Vedanta, he is the knower of the Vedas. Vedanta Krit, Vedavit, Krishna says. See this verses here. I put it here actually from the 15th chapter. Sarvasya chaham hridhi shanivishto mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. So mata, from me, Krishna says, comes smritir jnanam apohanam cha, comes knowledge. I'm sorry, smritir means remembrance, comes jnanam is knowledge and apohanam is forgetfulness. So sarvasya chaham hridhi, he is in the heart of everyone, Krishna is saying. And in that, as the super soul, he is giving remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. And then he says that, let's read the translation. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Veda is just sarvair. From all the Vedas, aham eva vedyo. I should be known from all the Vedas. Then he says, Vedanta Krit, Vedavid. I am the compiler of the Vedas and I am the knower of the Vedas. Vedanta Krit, Vedavid, Eva Cha Aham. Krishna is saying. So, if we can remember Krishna at the time of death, even for a moment, then we can come out of this material world, which is an ocean of miseries, and we can go to the spiritual world, which is an ocean of bliss. It's worth it, right? It's worth it. But how are we going to remember Krishna at the time of death? Not that I can do all kinds of nonsense and then at the time of death I will think of Krishna. No, because what we do throughout our lifetime, all our thoughts, all that accumulates at the time of death, because that is what is there in our consciousness. See here, this picture. Chanting the holy name, engaging in seva, deity worship. So therefore, at the time of death, he is able to think of Krishna. Because he's lived a life keeping Krishna in the center. Therefore, he is able to think of Krishna at the time of death, and therefore he can go to Krishna Loka. But if you are only engaged in materialistic activities, then we will be caught up in this cycle of birth, death, disease, and old age.
Mataji, is Balarama Sheshnag? No, right? Is there any kind
Yes,
of...
yes. He is his expansion. Yes. From Balaram, Sheshnag is expansion of Krishna. Correct.
Okay.
That's why he's serving Krishna. See, there is a... Let's go back to this chart actually. See here in this chart, you will see here. Shaktivesh avatar are those who are empowered incarnations. So your Sheshanag here, he's a Shaktivesh avatar. He's an expansion of Balaram. And his service is Swasevana Shakti. He is empowered to personally serve the Lord. So he provides the bed on which the Lord is sleeping. No? So that's his seva. And another Deva also, who is Balaram, he has the potency, power to Bhudharana Shakti, means he has the potency to carry the weight of all these material planets on his hoods. So yes, they are expansions of Balaram.
Thank you.
Okay, where are we now? Here. So the choice is ours. Do we want to keep Krishna in the center of our lives? Do we want to engage in devotional service, or we want to be just caught up in materialistic activities? See, the super soul is here, is present even in the heart of a grossly materialistic person. No, but he is riding on the material energy. He is there to guide him, but he is so overwhelmed with materialistic activities that he is getting bewildered and he's caught up in the cycle of birth and death. So we may not be so fortunate like Ajamila. Ajamila was given a second chance, because when he was on his deathbed, he called out the name Narayan. Narayan was actually his son. He called out the name of his son because he was most attached to his son. That's what came to his mind. So what we are most attached to is what accumulates in our mind at the time of death. So he called out to his youngest son Narayan. But it so happened that Narayan is also the name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the moment he called Narayan, the Vishnu Dutas appeared. But we may not be so fortunate that we will be given a second chance like Ajamila. So we should not waste this human life. See, sometimes people who are ignorant, they say that what is the point of doing bhakti, of sacrificing, of surrendering so much, because anyway everybody has to die. Devotee or no devotee, bhakti or sinful, anyway everybody has to die. Everybody has the same destination. It's true, everybody has to die, but your journey after death is very different for a devotee and very different for a non-devotee. So if one is a sinful personality, then the Yamadutas come to take the soul, and it's Yamadutas are very fierce looking. There is a very graphic description given in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the Ajamila story. But Vishnu Dutas are very beautiful, and they take the soul with all respect. So the choice is ours. We want to be taken by the Yamadutas and see the face of Yamaraj, or we want to be taken by the Vishnu Dutas and we want to be face to face with Krishna. The choice is ours. See here, the Yamadutas are taking forcefully, and here the Vishnudutas are taking the soul with all respect, singing the glories on a celestial airplane. So death is there for devotees and non-devotees, but your after-death journey is very different for a devotee and a non-devotee. If we are taken by the Yamadutas, then this is our destination in the court of Yamaraj. Then there the judgment is passed, and then he will send us to our next destination. But if we are taken by the Vishnudutas, then if we are taken to Goloka, then we will be personally hugged by Krishna, welcomed by Krishna. So the choice is ours. This is the result of Krishna conscious practice. If we practice Krishna consciousness in this present body while in a healthy condition and in a good mind, simply by chanting the holy Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, we will have every possibility of fixing the mind upon Krishna at the time of death. So if we chant the holy name, we will have every possibility of fixing the mind upon Krishna at the time of death. If we do this, then our lives become successful without any doubt. But if we keep our minds always absorbed in fruitive activities for material enjoyment, then naturally at the time of death we shall think of such activities and again be forced to enter material conditioned bodies to suffer the threefold miseries of material existence. Therefore, to remain always absorbed in Krishna consciousness was the standard of the inhabitants of Vṛndāvana as exhibited by Maharaj Nanda, Yashoda and the gopis. If we can simply follow in their footsteps, even to a minute proportion, our lives will surely become successful and we shall enter the spiritual kingdom, Vaikuntha. What are the threefold miseries of material existence?
Misery, bhautik, miseries from the nature, miseries from the mind, miseries from the other people. Adi bhautik, Adi devik, and Adi and
Adhyatmic. Adhyatmic are miseries caused by our own self, our own health concerns, my body, like that. So Adhyatmic is miseries caused by one's own self. Then Adi Daivik, miseries caused by natural calamities like earthquakes, famines, like that. And Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmic, Adi Daivik, and Adi Bhautik. Adi Bhautik are miseries caused by other living entities. So sometimes there are terrorist attacks, or there are some insects who are causing diseases, like that. So miseries caused by other living entities. So these threefold miseries are always going to be existing in the material world. But Vaikuntha is a place where there is no anxiety. Vaikuntha. Kuntha means anxiety. Vai means no. So it's a place where there is no anxiety. There is no question of any miseries. So see here, what's happening here in this picture?
Material enjoyment, right?
Material enjoyment. So actually here, they're all falling a prey to their senses. Which sense is this here? The sense of sight. sense of hearing, sense of taste, sense of touch, sense of smell. And this is the sixth sense, which is the mind. So all the six senses are engaging in sense gratificatory activities. There is no control over the senses. And because there is no control over the senses, they are engaged in sinful activities: meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, gambling. So these things keep us away from Krishna. But if we engage, this we already saw. But if we engage in Krishna conscious activities, see, the Krishna conscious activities does not mean that we have to give up our material duties. We do our material duties. Yes, we cook, we take care of our families, we go to work, we do our material duties. But always think of Krishna. Keep Krishna in the center of your lives. Cooking, cleaning, cutting. She's going out on book distribution. She's taking care of her family. They are having friendship. They are having discussions. But Krishna is in the center of their lives. My dear Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, Uddhava continued, you have thus fixed your minds wholly and solely upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, whose transcendental form is the cause of the impersonal Brahman. The Brahman effulgence is only the bodily rays of Narayan, and because you are always absorbed in ecstatic thought of Krishna and Balaram, what pious activity remains for you to perform? I have brought a message from Krishna that he will very soon come back to Vṛndāvana and satisfy you by his personal presence. Krishna promised that he would come back to Vṛndāvana after finishing his business in Mathura. This promise he will surely fulfill. I therefore request the two of you, who are the best among all who are fortunate, not to be aggrieved on account of Krishna's absence. So what is this Brahma Jyoti? What is this light that many spiritualists talk about? That Brahma Jyoti, that light, is nothing but the light that is coming from Krishna's body. It's not vice versa. It's not that Krishna and Ram and Balaram and these personalities are coming from the Brahma Jyoti. It's not like that. The source of the Brahma Jyoti is Krishna. So if you believe in Brahma Jyoti, but you don't believe that God is a person, God has a form, no, he's Purusha, he's Purushottama, then it's as absurd as saying that I believe in the sunlight, but I do not believe in the sun, because the source of the sunlight is the sun. So the source of this Brahma Jyoti is Krishna. But when we realize Krishna as a person, when we believe that God is a person, then that is the highest realization of God. It's the highest realization of the absolute truth. So thinking of Krishna at the time of death, no, thinking of Narayan at the time of death. One example is how Bhishma Dev from the Mahabharata, grandfather Bhishma Dev, how he gave up his body. When he was giving up his body, he requested Krishna if he could stand in such a way, no, so that Bhishma can look at Krishna when he's giving up his body. So Bhishma Dev taught us by his personal example how we should give up the body. He looked at Krishna when he gave up his body. You are always perceiving his presence 24 hours a day, yet he will come and see you very soon. Actually, he is present everywhere and in everyone's heart, just as fire is present in wood. Since Krishna is a super soul, he regards everyone equally. He sees no one as his enemy, no one as his friend, and no one as lower or higher than him. He actually has no father, mother, brother, or relative, nor does he require society, friendship, and love. He does not have a material body like us. He appears he never appears or takes birth like an ordinary human being. He does not appear in higher or lower species of life like ordinary living entities who are forced to take birth on account of their previous fruitive activities. He appears by his internal potency just to give protection to his devotees. So this is very, very important. He appears by his internal potency just to give protection to his devotees. That is Krishna's primary agenda. His devotees. Killing demons is a secondary activity that he does. In fact, the acharyas explain that when Krishna is killing the demons, is Krishna's Narayan form that is actually killing the demons. Krishna is not interested in killing the demons. Krishna is only interested in reciprocating with the love of his devotees. That is his primary agenda. Okay. He is never influenced by the modes of material nature, but when he appears within this material world, he seems to act like an ordinary living entity under the spell of the modes of material nature. But in fact, he is the overseer of this material creation, and while remaining unaffected by the material modes of nature, he creates, maintains, and dissolves the whole cosmic manifestation. We wrongly look upon Krishna and Balaram as ordinary human beings, just as whirling men see the whole world whirling around them. The personality of Godhead is no one's son. He is actually everyone's father, mother, and supreme controller. There is no doubt of this. Whatever is already being experienced, whatever is not being experienced, whatever already exists, does not exist, or will exist in the future, whatever is the smallest or whatever is the biggest, have no existence outside the supreme personality of Godhead. Everything rests in Him, but He is untouched by everything manifested. So everything depends on Krishna. Krishna, in fact, says in the Bhagavad Gita that there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So all these pearls in a necklace, they are all there together because of the thread. No, the thread may not be visible, but a person of normal intelligence will understand that all these pearls are together because of the thread. No, so Krishna is that thread. Krishna is that personality who's holding everything together. A child of small intelligence, when he sees the pearl, he may not think that, oh, all this is being held together because of thread. Because he's a child, he is less intelligent. No, but it takes some maturity, some intelligence to understand the importance of the thread to hold the pearls together. So when we come to Krishna consciousness, then intelligence is to understand that everything that exists is because of Krishna. Krishna himself says this in the Bhagavad Gita. There is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Nanda and Uddhava thus passed the whole night discussing Krishna. In the morning, the gopis prepared for morning arati by lighting their lamps and sprinkling butter mixed with yogurt. After finishing their Mangal Arati, they engaged themselves in churning butter from yogurt. While the gopis were thus engaged, the lamps reflected on their ornaments made made the ornaments still brighter. Their churning rods, their arms, their earrings, their bangles, their breasts, everything moved, and kumkuma flower gave their faces a saffron luster comparable to the rising sun. While making sounds by churning, they also sang the glories of Krishna. The two sound vibrations mixed together, ascended to the sky, and sanctified the whole atmosphere. Oh, after sunrise, the gopis came as usual to offer their respects to Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda. But when they saw the golden chariot of Uddhava at the door, they began to inquire among themselves, what was that chariot and to whom did it belong? Some of them inquired whether Akrura, who had taken away Krishna, had returned. They were not very much pleased with Akrura because, being engaged in the service of Krishna, he had taken lotus-eyed Krishna away to the city of Mathura. All the gopis conjectured that Akrura might have come again to fulfill another cruel plan, but they thought, we are now dead bodies without our Supreme Master Krishna. What further act can Akrura penetrate against these dead bodies? While they were talking in this way, Uddhava finished his morning ablutions, prayers, and chanting and came before them. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 45th chapter of Krishna. Uddhava visits Vṛndāvana. So initially
Mataji,
the gopis, they think that
what does conjure means? Conjure, you just read it, conjure. Gopis were thinking
they
conjure.
concluded.
Okay.
So what was I saying? I forgot. Yeah, so the gopis initially, they thought that it is Akrura who has returned when they saw the chariot. And the word Akrura means not cruel, no, because Krura means cruel. So they are thinking that, oh, previously he did this cruel activity and now he has come to do some other cruel activity. But then what more can he do? Because now we are already dead bodies, no? So the gopis are thinking like that. But then Uddhava appears before them. So then what happens? We'll see in the next chapter if Krishna so sanctions. On that note, by the mercy of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna, we come to the end of today's presentation. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai Sri Prabhupada.
Do you have any questions or comments? Yes, Priyanka?
Hare Krishna Mataji, just one small question that is from my mother. She asked that in 1.62 of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that Nanda Maharaj and all the cowherd men and their wives were none but denizens of the heavenly planet. But we always thought that they are the eternal associates, so how can they be from heavenly planet?
Let's go to the verse. .1.
62.
62. Okay, here I have it. Let me share my screen. So 10.1.62.63. The inhabitants of Vṛndāvana, headed by Nanda Maharaj and including his associate cowherd men and their wives, were none but denizens of the heavenly planets. So your question is, how come they are denizens of the heavenly planets?
Yeah, because we always thought that they are the eternal associates, so they should be from Golok or Vaikuntha. Why from heavenly planets, which are temporary place? When they are eternal associate of Krishna, so they should be from eternal place, right?
Okay, let's see if we can find something. So who is speaking this verse? Sukadeva Goswami? We have to say who is speaking this verse. Yeah, Sukadeva Goswami is speaking this verse.
Okay.
So let's read. The inhabitants of Vṛndāvana, headed by Nanda Maharaj and including his associate cowherd men and their wives, were none but denizens of the heavenly planets. O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the descendants of Bharata, and so too were the descendants of Vrishni dynasty, headed by Vasudeva and Devaki, and the other women of the dynasty of Yadu. The friends and relatives and well-wishers of both Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva, and even those who were externally appeared to be followers of Kamsa, were all demigods. So my understanding is this is a generic statement because he's putting all these personalities under one roof. So it's a generic statement, not a specific statement where he's particularly distinguishing that so and so is from the heavenly planet, so and so is a eternal associate of Kṛṣṇa, and so is coming from heaven. So he's making a generic statement there where all the descendants of the Vrishni dynasty and all the friends, relatives, and well-wishers of both Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva, they are all demigods. So it's a more generic statement. So sometimes in Shastra you will find generic statements, and sometimes in Shastra you find more specific statements. Just as how Prabhupada uses the word Krishna and Vishnu interchangeably. So sometimes we say, but this is Krishna, this is not Vishnu, but this is Vishnu. But sometimes statements are generic and sometimes they are more specific. So because he's clubbing all these other categories of people, he's making a generic statement. Okay, this is how I understand it.
Yeah,
Does
got
that
it.
mean that they are the demigods?
Now you'll have to split and analyze each personality that is mentioned here. But we know that Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, they are eternal associates of Krishna. But Devaki and Vasudev, they did a lot of tapasya and then they got to become the parents of Krishna and Balaram. So they are not, Devaki and Vasudev, they become eternal associates. But Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they are already eternal associates. There's a difference between the two. Okay.
Even the cowherd men are the eternal associate, right?
Yeah, but not all of them. Not all of them. Some of them become eternal associates. Some of them, after they associate with Krishna, then they become eternal associates. And some of them are already eternal associates.
Oh.
That is there in the commentary also of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, how he explains that some of them are almost perfecting their lives, and after their association with Krishna, then they become eternal associates.
Oh, noted. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
You're welcome.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Wendy?
Actually, my mother got initiated by Param Puja Japadaka Swami Maharaj last month
What's
in
that?
Sridham. My mother got initiated by Param Puja Japadaka Swami Maharaj last month. So she's
Wow.
also
Where did she take initiation?
in Sridham, Mayapur.
Wow. What's her name now?
Kulavati Krishna Prada Devidasi.
Phulavati Krishna Prada Devidasi ki jai. Very nice. Congratulations. You are very blessed that your mother is initiated devotee.
Thank you so much, Mother.
And now you have to follow her footsteps. Okay, Wendy?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Priyanka, congratulations. Mataji, quiero preguntarle, cuando dice internas association, tengo una confusión con eso. ¿Qué significa? Porque lo escucho ya muchas veces, que el Señor tiene asociación internamente con sus devotos. ¿O qué significa exactamente internal association?
Internal Association, me gustaría ver el contexto, exactamente en qué párrafo, en qué texto, porque hay que
Por
ver el
ejemplo,
contexto.
ok. Cuando dice, por ejemplo, que Madre Yasoda mantuvo internal association con Krishna, por ejemplo, en ese caso, ¿qué sería?
Yo igual quiero ver la cita sástrica, pero normalmente es energía interna, no asociación interna. No sé si es asociación o energía interna, porque Krishna tiene dos energías, interna y externa. Su energía interna es lo que se asocia con los devotos de Krishna y energía externa es lo que se ven los demonios, los no devotos de Krishna, ¿no? Entonces hay energía interna y externa. Asociación, me gustaría ver exactamente la cita. Usted si quiere me manda por WhatsApp y yo lo respondo. Sí.
Ok, muchas gracias. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dad Melis?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for the class.
Hare
Mataji, I
Krishna.
have a question because in the presentation it says that the main goal is to go to Vaikunta. But what happened with the devotees that doesn't want to go to Vaikunta and they thinking to go in their minds to go to Goloka Vṛndāvana, Mataji? Is it possible Krishna make the arrangement if we take mukti in this opportunity to go to Goloka or not?
Yes, see, where we go depends on two factors, what we desire and what we deserve. So if you are saying if a devotee has a desire to go to Goloka, yes, Krishna fulfills the desire of his devotees. But we should also deserve it. We should have that kind of devotional service to back our desire. No, so it depends on two factors, what we deserve and what we desire. If we desire it and if we deserve it, definitely we can go to Goloka. Now, coming to that statement by that the goal is to go to Vaikuntha, it's again a generic statement. No, spiritual world can be generally referred to Vaikuntha, not specifically mentioning Goloka or Vaikuntha or which part of Goloka, because Goloka also has different divisions. No, there is Dwarka, there is Mathura, and there is Golok Vrindavan. So again, this is a generic statement to talk about the spiritual world. It's not a specific statement that only Vaikuntha. It's a generic statement. So yes, if you want to go to Goloka, if you deserve it and you desire it, definitely Krishna will facilitate and sanction it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mataji.
You're
Hare Krishna.
welcome. Hare Krishna. So are we ready for the exam? Yeah,
Yes,
do we have?
Mataji. Before I forget the whole thing, because I read so much, 3 papers, 4 papers, it was so much fun. And I'm confused with the purports of each one of them. So yeah, we are ready for the test.
Okay. Wendy, ¿tiene otra pregunta? Veo que su mano está.
I'm sorry, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Priyanka, you have another question? Your hand is raised.
Yes. So, just wondering, why did Uddhav give all these knowledge about Krishna to Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda when they knew all these things because they had already associated, like all the Puruja and incarnation and so many knowledge from Bhagavad Gita. Why did Uddhav need to speak all these things with Nanda Maharaj?
So as we discussed previously, Uddhava is a great counselor. So he's trying to pacify them by glorifying Krishna. Because when you glorify the child, then the parents automatically feel happy, no? So he's glorifying the position of Krishna in order to pacify them.
Okay.
Okay?
Hare Krishna.
Every parent likes to hear the glories of their child. Okay, so are we ready for the exam?
Yes.
Okay, the link is right now there in your chat.
Can you send it again?
Okay, I can do that. There you go.